And we are live, Kelly.
Thank you, Daniel. Hi, everyone. Today we have Microsoft Data Platform MVP Shabnam Watson with the amazing presentation of Incremental Refresh. And we also have Leila Etaati, the amazing MVP with in the Data Platform and AI categories with Charticulator. Join us for those presentations and so much more, and some giveaways starting now with the Power BI Community Show. Hi, everyone. My name is Kaye, Microsoft Power BI Community Engagement Lead. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever your time zone is. Our great show today is going to feature Shabnam Watson, who's a fantastic, amazing Microsoft Data Platform MVP. And she's going to talk to us about Incremental Refresh. That's coming up shortly. Leila Etaati is coming up shortly as well with Charticulator. And that's going to lead into a competition that we're going to have later. So stay tuned to talk about that. So what's the Power BI show? The Power BI Community Show is about connecting you, the community, with us, the product team, with other community members, MVPs, super users, user groups, everyone, the Power Platform community team, just joining us and connecting on all of the things that we love about Power BI, how to use Power BI to learn and grow. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of things coming up. So we've got some Dev Camp, and our Dev Camp is coming up on May 26. Now, that's with Alex Powers, right, Daniel? Ted Patterson and Alex Powers on May 26. Thursday, May 26, 11 a.m. Pacific time, yeah?
You got it 100%. It's the custom functions and documentation in Power Query, so check it out.
Yeah, I love Ted's Dev Camp, and I also love Alex Powers. Great presenter, always learn from both of them every time I join their calls. So please remember to join us there, mark your calendars. Okay, a couple of other things, housekeeping to remember. If you want to join our community, just go to community.powerbi.com. We would love to see you there. Okay, on with the show. We're going to first introduce our amazing data platform MVP, speaker, blogger, independent BI consultant extraordinaire, Shabnam Watson.
Hi, Kelly. Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone.
Thanks for joining us. It's going to be a fantastic demo. I can't wait.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we're going to talk about incremental refresh and hybrid tables, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, and we found like there's a lot of challenges with some of the people who use incremental refresh or are trying to use incremental refresh, and there's a little bit of confusion. But today you're going to show us some great tips about how to use them, yeah?
Yes, they are super easy to set up, and as long as you follow a couple of little tips here and there, they're super easy to get started with, and then Power BI takes care of the rest for you.
Fantastic. And tell us a little bit about you're a BI consultant.
Yes, so I have worked with Microsoft data products for 20 plus years. And during this time, my focus has been on analysis services and Power BI in the most recent years. And part of the reason I'm so interested in the incremental refresh is that it creates all those wonderful partitions for you behind the scenes, which if you're coming from an analysis services background, you know that you had to create all of those manually and maintain them, but you don't need to do that anymore with Power BI. It takes care of all of that for you.
I know, isn't it fantastic? I love how our products evolved. You know, all kudos to the product team out there. Thank you so much. You know, and they listen to the community as well about what features to implement. So, you know, I love Power BI for that. Okay, so, you know, Shabnam, I didn't want to delay your amazing demo any further. So you good with getting started now?
Yes, let's get started.
Great, let's do that.
Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, so here I have a Power BI report that is created based off of the Adventure Work sample database. And the first thing that we need to do is to set up some parameters in this Power BI report. Okay, just one moment. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to go to transform data and open up the Power Query editor. And here you can see that I have created 2 parameters already. Now, if you have not created parameters before, all you got to do is to go to Manage Parameters and click on New. Now, I'm going to click on Manage Parameters to show you what's inside. So there are 2 parameters, range start and range end. These are reserved keywords. And if you want to use Power BI incremental refresh feature, you must use these reserved keywords. And they're very simple. So they have the type of either daytime or time or date. So this is critical. The time must be either daytime or date, and it must match the data type of the column that you're going to use for incremental refresh in your backend data source. So here I've set it to daytime because that's the type of my column. And then for the starting value, instead of working with all of the data, so I have 12 years of data in here. Instead of working with all of that, I'm setting it so that I only start working with data from January 2020 and forward. And for the range end, it is set to January 1st, 2023. So I'm going to click on OK. And now that we have the parameters, we can apply this to the order date column. So I'm going to go here, order date, and do daytime filters, custom filter. And here we are going to set the criteria for how we want the data to be filtered. So we're going to say it is going to be after or equal to, and change this drop down to a parameter, which will pop up the set of parameters that we have, range start, and it is going to be before the other parameter. Now, it is super important that you do not include one of the boundaries. So in this case, I'm keeping the right boundary open-ended so that it does not get included. If you use an equal to or before in the second one as well, what will happen is that when you set up incremental refresh, that day is going to be included in more than one partition, and then your numbers are not going to be correct. So keep in mind on that, and click on OK. And now this column is filtered. I'm going to say close and apply. And you're going to see that even by setting the parameters, the amount of data that I'm going to work with within Power BI Desktop is going to be changing into just 3 years worth of data. So far we have limited the data, but that's not all we want to do. I'm going to go back to the model. And now that we have the 2 parameters and they are filtering the column, what we can do is we can go here and choose manage, choose incremental refresh. And now we can enable incremental refresh option. So what we're going to tell this is to start to archive 12 years worth of data. And we're going to incrementally refresh the last 7 days. Now, as soon as I choose a value from this second dropdown, you're going to see that Power BI Desktop is going to show us the ranges of the data that it's going to load. So the first time that this data set is going to be refreshed from Power BI service, it's going to load 12 years worth of data plus the last 7 days. But going forward, every time you submit a refresh from Power BI service, whether on a schedule or manual, it's going to only load the last, it's going to load only the last 7 days. Okay.
So I'd love to just jump in here. So basically, your incremental refresh here is making your refreshes so much more efficient. Yeah.
Yes. So they're right. So you don't want to be reloading all of your historical data all the time, because in most cases, most businesses, their historical data doesn't change. So sometimes you have to go back a few days, sometimes a day, sometimes a few months, but past a year at most businesses do not need to reload all that data. So instead, you will just load your most recent data. Which will reduce, which has many benefits. It will reduce the time of the amount of time it takes for you to refresh, so you can actually fit in a refresh window, and it will put less pressure on your backend systems, and the refresh takes less time, so there are less chances of you running into network issues and other interruptions.
That's fantastic.
Refreshes will be more reliable.
Thank you for explaining that, because I just wanted to make sure everybody knew the great benefits there. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry for
okay,
interrupting.
so I'm going to click on apply. And now I'm going to publish this to Power BI service. And here we go. So I'm going to send this to refresh demos. And while this is uploading there, I'm going to go bring up the Power BI service, and let's take a look here. It should show up here in just one moment. Here it is. Now, if I open the report from here, the very first time, it's only going to contain the 3 years of data that was in the Power BI desktop. This is because you have to do one first refresh from Power BI service for it to take the incremental refresh policy and apply. So let's do that. I'm going to go here, back to the data set, and do a refresh. Now, because this is our very first refresh, it's going to pull all of the data. The next refresh, it's only going to pull the last 7 days. So while this is doing this one, I'm going to go and open this up from Tabular Editor so that we can take a look at the partitions, because from Power BI service, you cannot actually see all the partitions that it is creating for you. Okay, now let's go to tables. And this is our table, and look at the partitions. Now you can see that Power BI service created all these partitions for us. So it created yearly partitions and 1 quarterly partition, 1 monthly partition to get us over into May. And in the May, it has created daily partitions all the way to May 9th. Now, if you look at the timestamps of these right now, it says 6:11 p.m. and this is UTC time. If I go and refresh this from Power BI service next time, it is only going to update the last 7 days. So let's do that. So now if I go back to Power BI service and issue a refresh again, this time it's going to go faster. And if I go back here and let me reopen this so that it refreshes one more time. And now if we look at the timestamps, when they come up, we're going to see that the timestamp for the last 7 has changed. So now let's look at the ones that has not been updated. So 6:11 p.m. And now if you go here, you can see that the last 7 is just a minute after, so 6:12. So anything after May 3rd has been updated, May 2nd and before has not been updated. So this is the incremental refresh part of it, right? Which by itself has so many wonderful applications. Now I'm going to set up the hybrid option to show you how this very last partition can change from import to direct query, so that when the backend data changes, you can see the results in a Power BI report right away. Okay. So all I got to do is to go back to the same table, to incremental refresh, and enable this last option here. Now you see that when I click this one, notice how this message here changes. It says right now up until May 9th, but if I click this, it goes up until May 8th. So up until May 8th is now going to be imported. This May 9th data is going to be left in direct query. Okay, so I'm going to click on apply and publish this back to the service one more time. And remember, in order for the new policy to take effect, we have to do a refresh from Power BI service. Okay, so let me go here, go to Power BI service and do a refresh. And while that's doing, I will refresh this from the tabular editor. Here it comes. Right, go to the tables, partitions, and now you can see that this one has changed. So now it says May 9th and onward, and its storage mode is now set to direct query here. Okay, so everything before is import. This one is set to direct query. Now, the beauty of this is that now if I go back to the report, let me bring up the report. Let's take a look at it. Let's see, let's do a refresh. This is right now, the report was cached. So I'm going to hit this so that we can load all of the data. There we go. Okay, so see how the data for May 8th and May 9th are set to $38,000 and some dollars. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to the backend SQL data source, and I'm going to update them, and I'm going to multiply them by a big number so that we can see the changes right away. Okay, so I'm going to update the data for May 8th and May 9th. All right, now we go back to the report, and I'm going to hit refresh just to refresh the visuals. I'm not refreshing the data set. I'm just refreshing the visual. And let me click here. And you see that the data for May 9th changed right away without me having to refresh my data set. This means that throughout the refresh window, so even if you're refreshing hourly, in between, if you have data that is changing, your users can see the changes right away. So this is incremental refresh and hybrid tables in a nutshell for you.
This is fantastic. And we had a couple of comments here on YouTube on the chat saying, really well explained. So
thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, this is going to save people so much time,
Yes.
It's so much time.
Thank you.
How much time do you think it takes to set it up? I mean, it was a very quick demo here, but if you had,
yes.
And I shouldn't say standard database or standard environment, is it going to take a couple of hours? How much planning beforehand do you have to do to, figure out which ones you want? Do you have to go out to the business? Do you have to decide yourself? Like, who's making the decisions on what to update typically?
So yes, so you have to work with the business because you need to know how is the data being updated, right? If you really have near real-time data, what are the expectations, right? Is it within the day or beyond that? And the other thing you have to be careful is that even when you're just working with parameters, you have to make sure you pay attention to the query folding, because you want these criteria to be passed in your backend to the backend SQL server in the where clause, right, to limit the data. Else what you will end up with is that you're going to pull all the data and then limit it. That's what you don't want it to happen. So you have to pay attention to the query folding and also make sure that the column that you're partitioning by is covered by some sort of index in your backend so that you get the best performance.
Yeah, that's a good tip actually about the query folding, because you don't want to be pulling all of the data and then, effectively filtering it out, which isn't really going to help you much.
Yes.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And so, talk with the business, figure out what you want refreshed, and then go ahead and implement. And it doesn't take that long, does it?
It does not. No, the rest is super fast.
Awesome. Well, Shabnam, is there anything else that you can provide in terms of tips? You said query folding. Anything else that you can provide in terms of, what are the best practices?
So it goes back to the old saying, only bring in the data that you absolutely want to work with, whether it's rows or columns, and make sure your queries are covered by indexes. I think it's just as simple as that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. And how can people contact you, Shabnam?
So I am on Twitter. I'm active on LinkedIn. I also have a blog that you can follow, and I'm also posting some videos to YouTube.
Excellent.
So any of those ways, reach out to me.
And I think you posted something on the community recently in our webinars. Daniel, was that in our webinars gallery?
Yeah, absolutely. If everyone wants to go have a look in our Power BI community webinars and video galleries, Shabnam just posted a YouTube video all about this demo, so definitely check it out. The links will be in the show notes shortly.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Shabnam, join us after, because Leila's going to do a demo shortly. And then, join us after for a chat if you're able to stick around.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, that was fantastic, everyone, don't you think? I mean, time saving, great ideas, great insights for your customers and for your business partners straight away without having to do a ton of work. So on to an amazing person. This is Leila Etaati from Radicad. Leila is a data platform and AI MVP. So, we've got some MVP awards behind you. I can see there, Leila. Just a couple. And she's going to show us about a fantastic, I don't know how to describe it, but it's Charticulator. Basically, you can make beautiful visualizations with Charticulator. And I think, Leila, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we
Yeah,
can
sure.
go on with Charticulator. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. Thanks so much for organizing this. I really enjoyed Shabnam's presentation. So, Charticulator is actually is a tools that help people without no code create custom visual. So I think that's the best describe it, and is much easy to use.
Okay, so great description. Low code, custom visual.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. This is why every time, we speak, I learn from you. So I love how you've simplified it. You've made it very easy to understand, like a great concept. Okay, so Charticulator. How did you learn about it? When did you start? What is it that you love about it?
So I was involved with creating visual with R custom visual Python. And also creating there, and it took me a lots of writing code. So more than like, for example, 100 code line of the codes. And when I introduced in 2019, I believe with that, and I created a simple chart that's in R, I wrote about 200 line of the code to make it work. But here, I just with 5 minutes, I created. Then I said, "Oh my God, that can be really helpful for other people." And
That's fantastic.
yeah,
Okay,
I'm
and I
really
know,
inspired.
and you're part of a fantastic organization, Radicad, and you just had the Power BI summit. I think you had one in New Zealand recently. Yep.
Yeah, so we just in March we have a Power BI Summit, and now we are going to have a conference AI and Power BI in Auckland, hopefully soon in July.
Fantastic. And I'm looking forward to that very much so, actually. All right. So, well, without further ado, we would love to see how you have a low code option here for Charticulator to create custom visuals. And stick around, everyone, because we may have a competition coming up in the community that you can win stuff like, I don't know, maybe some Power BI socks that have been very popular on Twitter lately. I don't know if everybody knows. So we might be able to organize something like that soon. So, yeah. Anyway, over to you.
Thank you. Thanks
Thanks,
so much.
Leila.
Thanks so much. So as I explained with chat with Kelly, so Charticulator introduced in 2019 that actually help us to create kind of the no-code environment for creating custom visual. There are many ways of the creating visual in Power BI, but this one is the way that you don't need to write any code. So Charticulator was introduced actually as a project from Microsoft Research that now is part of the Microsoft product team. So they started with that. You're able to create different type of visuals with it, your own and your customized axes and the shape. You can create your own axes beside just Y and X axis over there, and create different kind of the visuals. So let's see that how we can actually works with that. So the initial platform that we have for Charticulator was actually here. So if you go to charticulator.com, that's the first place that actually Charticulator can. You also able to use Charticulator recently in Power BI Desktop. That means that as a custom visual, you're able to go to the get more visual, and it's come as a custom visual. So if you search for Charticulator, you will see that now it's actually become part of the custom visual, and you're able to actually to add it and use it inside Power BI. So that's also a development areas. For now, I'm going to just talk about the environment. So to access the environment, so you go to Charticulator website and click on launch. It's actually provide you a studio. It's an online studio that stores all of your kind of charts that you're creating over here. So I'm going to show you what we can actually create a simple chart. So the first place that we have is to get our data. I recommend that, for example, you want to create a chart, you have, for example, 1 million records of the data, just bring a sample of them, like 100 or 200 records of the data as a CSV file over here. And you can see we have a place data to actually drag and drop our data over here. So I click on the open and to get the data over here, and I'm going to create a simple one that is a pyramid chart over here. So as you can see, I can see there are different places here. There's an area that shows the fields. You can see your data over here. So in my example, I have sales information for female and male, and also I have the age range over here, and the female and name are numeric, and the age range is a text value over here. So what else I have here? I have a concept name glyph. So glyph is actually a place that you specify for each of rows of the data what symbol we should have, what text, what label text we have. So it's for the each rows of the data. And you can see the glyph also specification over here. Another concepts that we have that actually is chart area, that's kind of talk about the general layout of data. So here I'm going to add the age range to my YX, to the Y-axis. So I want to see it over here. So when I actually drag and drop from here, the age range to the Y-axis, if I go to the plot segment that is under the charts environment, I can see the attribute of the what I have here. So as you can see, for the Y-axis, I add the age range. I prefer the age range to be vice versa. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually over here and kind of change it to be reverse, and is actually impact that one. So I have this one. What else I want? I want to actually show female cells and male cells as two separate axes. So I want to show them as a two separate one. I don't want to use just one X axis to that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually make this one a bit bigger. So I'm going to make the glyph a bit bigger so I can add something over here. Just let me, sometimes it's a bit tricky to make it bigger. Yep. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the data axis. So I want to have three axes. So Y, and another one axis for the female cells and one axis for male cells. And to do that, as you can see at the top, we have data axis. I'm click on that. I'm going to say, I want the data start from here and end over there. So you can see that is actually when I draw something over here, some axes appear here, and it starts from 0 to whatever data that I have. So this is the 0 of my axis because I start drawing from here to here. So I'm going to, so this is for one of my data, that is, for example, for male, and for the female, for example, I'm going again start to write from here to there. Again, you can see them. So now that I'm create them, so I'm going to actually add the cells, add the female and male data to that one. So I'm going to add the data over here. So as you can see, there's actually, I now have three axes. So one for the age, one for the female cells, and another one for the male cells. So again, if you look at back here, because the data that I have here is for the each rows of the data. So as you can see, so this is the average of the female cells and average of the male cells. Again, back to the what we have over here. So you can see that under my glyph, I have two data axes. So this one, I can also rename it to be like female cells. Do not kind of change that. And also this is male cells. So what else I'm going to actually do? So here I have that one. Now I want to show a bar chart for each of them. To show the bar chart, at the top of the page, we have marks. And each mark has rectangles and the ellipse or whatever you want to use. I'm using the rectangle. I'm going to, let me make it bigger so you can see easily over here. So as you can see, I create a bar over here that starts from 0 to the average of each rows of the data that is here. I do the same for the male cells. I'm also going to put it over here. So if I just back it to here, so you can see it is actually create a 2-bar chart beside of each other for me. There is a problem here for this data access, that the data is on the other side. So I want to change the position of the data over here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the actually female access to be on the other side. So that's actually placed. So you see that the position is default. I'm going to first of all, I click on the female axis here, and then I'm going to change it to be the opposite side. So I'm going to change it to be opposite. Noise actually is great. For the each shape also, I can use a formula to do that. So if you have a specific column, you can, first of all, you need to select the shape that is for female cells, and then you can drag and drop any field over here, or simply you can change the color over here. That's for now. I'm just going to change the color to be something else. So this is a very simple chart that actually shows the cells as a 2-bar chart beside each other for female and male. Beside that, you also may want to add the ticks to show the data label. So that's also possible. So let's go and add the text over here. So as you see at the top, we have text and text box. So text is actually referred to a label, data label for each rows of the data. That means it's go to the glyph, and text box is used when you just want to put a label for the entire chart or for the data access. That time use the text over here, and I'm going to put them beside here to kind of make it better. And just to make sure that you put it in a better way. And the same for the other side, you can put that. I just skip that one. So as you can see here, the access, because access, all of the data access for female and male is related to each rows of the data. So they have been in the glyph. Shape is for each rows of the data. The text that I have here, so I have two texts. The one that we have as a title of the chart here is just for the whole chart. But the other text that we have is for each rows of the data. So for this one, I want to show for example, the female data. So it shows me as a data label. I can kind of make it smaller so we can see it better. So this is a very simple chart that I have. So now imagine that I want to use it in Power BI. To do that, at the top of the page, as you can see, we have the option export. So if I click on export, I'm able to export it as a Charticulator template, so I can share it with other people so they can add changes, or I have a Power BI custom visual. For Power BI custom visual, you can provide the different names. So for example, I said X axis instead of female because I may use different type of data there. You can change for the rest. You can specify it can be, for example, it can be drill down or drill up, put a name for the visual, even put a icon for that visual. So imagine that is all good. I'm going to import it to the Power BI. So now if I back to the Power BI here and from the get more visual, I have the option import a visual, and I'm able to actually import that visual over here. So this is the chart that I have. It's coming over here, and I can use it as a simple visual over here. So as you can see, this is the parameters that I have over here. So I'm going to very fast to show you just to see that. So age, that was the female. I just make sure it's not summarized with this perspective, and the male. So you just make it to be a bit. Okay, so it's actually, this is chart. This chart also can be a slice and dice. In kind of in R, we don't have that option, but here we have this option. Also, there are some settings that you can set it up. For example, the name of the chart, you can change it to be, for example, female and male. So you can kind of change the chart name over here. Some of the specification you can change, but not all of them. We can do the same with a custom visual that we have for Charticulator. Is the same experience because it's a new, some of the features still need to be added, but that's also the same experience. So I'm going to actually pass the data to that like this. So we are going to pass the data, and then if you click on the edit button, you actually access the environment embedded inside Power BI. So you can do all of the things that I done inside the actually website. I will post, I still didn't post this video into the community, but I definitely will post more detail about how to create different visual into the community, Power BI community, so you can access them. So hopefully today or tomorrow.
This is fantastic. I'm just looking at how many things we could probably build, how many visualizations we can build like this. It's super interesting. And it went from research and now it's in the product. It's in the desktop. Yeah, it's on app source.
That's correct. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so how many have people created different types of shapes, or do they, usually start with bar charts?
They can create different things. So if you go to the Charticulator gallery, you will see what kind of the option is scatter chart, bar charts, KPI. So you can create different things. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, so if I'm starting off with Charticulator, I'm brand new to Charticulator. What are the top 3 tips you would give me?
So first of all is that actually the data that you created, be careful about what shape you want to create and provide the appropriate data to that, because based on the each chart, we may have a specific data. And also one of the things that we don't have the image URL still in that. So I think very soon will become. And I can say the documentation in Charticulator website also can be really helpful.
Okay, and do we have a Charticulator link here, website link for more information for people on how to learn? And do we have that, Daniel? If not, we can post in the show notes later.
Yeah, the show notes are updated, so if you check it out, you can find Leila's links as well as the Charticulator stuff. Yep.
Fantastic. I think this is super, super cool. I'm sure people are going to come up with some brilliant ways to use Charticulator. And in saying that, what we'd like to also say is that we will be launching a competition, Leila, on Charticulator. And I'd love for you to help us maybe pick out some really good Charticulator examples, and we will be giving away some Power BI giveaways like socks and maybe a couple of t-shirts. The socks are here. They're huge right now. Power BI socks. We've got some Power BI lanyards here as well that we'll be giving away, and a couple of other things. And so if you're interested, in learning Charticulator, please go ahead and do so now. And next week, join us on the community. You'll see a post about the Charticulator Challenge. So the CC, Power BI Charticulator Challenge. Say that 3 times fast, right? And we'll be asking everyone to go learn Charticulator, post some of your examples, and stay tuned for some of the details on the community. So, yeah, Leila, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks so much. Thank you. It's great to present over here. And I will post all, I have 3 videos that I will put into the community website now today.
Oh, great. Like in our webinars gallery? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so everybody go to community.powerbi.com, register, and go and have a look at those fantastic videos so we can learn more about Charticulator and get ready for the Charticulator Challenge next week. Well, let's bring Shabnam back on. And also I wanted to, well, firstly, thank you, but also wanted to do a shout out to our fantastic community managers. That'd be Heather Hernandez, Natalie, and Eileen. And we just wanted to say thank you so much. You know, Heather, Natalie, and Eileen keep the trains running on the community. So, you know, with our forums, etc. So everybody say hi.
Hi,
How are you today?
everyone. So happy to be here. That was great. Both Shabnam and Leila, that was awesome.
Great demos, good response from everyone. They really like the information. So this is a great way to present it. Thank you all.
Yeah, it's everyone's just learning from each other, and that's what community is about, right? So we all learn from each other all the time. And you know, one of the things I know that Natalie, Eileen, and Heather have come across, and probably you too, Shabnam and Leila, is that you know, people think that they have to know everything about Power BI straight away. You don't. Everybody, you know, learns at their own pace, and not even all of the product teams know everything about Power BI. You know, so. You know, we're all learning here together. Don't be afraid of it. Come and use it and ask us questions on the community. The community is here to help you so much. And if you want to learn even more, you can join a local user group. And you just go to the user group section in community. And I think we have the link there, which is aka.ms Power BIUG. Join a user group or become a user group lead if you want to help teach or present. It's a great way to learn and connect with those who love Power BI like we do. Well, thanks, Natalie and Eileen, and everyone. When you're on the community, thank you so much for asking all your questions. Just do a shout out to Natalie and Eileen sometimes. So, Leila, how can we get in contact with you?
Oh, actually, that's my Twitter and also LinkedIn that I share with Daniel. I mean, that's will be shared soon. So, and also, I mean, via my email, definitely they can.
Okay, so Twitter, you think, is the best?
Twitter and LinkedIn is the best.
Twitter and LinkedIn, and also they can go to Radicat as well.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Now we've got those 3 videos coming up, and they'll be ready today or tomorrow on the community.
I do my best today. So today is 7 a.m. So I do my best to upload it before lunchtime.
Thank you, and thank you so much for joining us early. It's, you know, you're in New Zealand, yeah?
Yes, New Zealand, Auckland, and it's a bit rainy today.
And Shabnam, where are you today? Where are you located?
I'm in Atlanta. It's nice and sunny here.
Nice.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's a bit sunny today in Seattle, but I think we're going to get rain again. You know, it's not quite August yet, so we're not counting on the great weather yet. Okay, so all right, we've got a couple of reminders. We want to make sure that people with your with our incremental refresh and our hybrid tables, you've got to remember your query folding. And then what else was it?
Make sure that the column that the partitioning is based off of is covered by an index in the back end so that the queries run optimally also on the back end.
Okay, fantastic. And then for you, Leila, for Charticulator, a couple of reminders. Go and look at the documentation.
Yeah, definitely go to the to the documentation, and also if they want to import the data from the original, just get a sample of that, not the whole thing. So that's actually because it's become a bit slow. But also, of course, they can use the desktop one at the custom visual that we have for chart. So custom visual to create a custom visual. So I can say that's the best thing.
That's fantastic. And look, we're always here on the community, ready to answer questions on our forums. I know that there are a lot of people that are active. We love our super users and our MVPs. We'd love to give away a couple of things. I've got a couple of copies, because speaking about community and culture and being great with each other and learning from each other, I have a couple of copies of a book I'd like to give away. So can anyone guess what book I'm giving away today? I'll give you a hint. Hang on, it's this hand. I always do the opposite. So here we go. It is Trust and Inspire by Stephen M.R. Covey. So this is a fantastic book about leadership. There's so many things about developing others and unleashing the greatness in others, as they put it. But I am giving away 4 of these books. We have 4 available. So if you can comment in YouTube or on Twitter and mention Leila, Shabnam, and the Power BI Community Show, any of those, let us know. We'll be randomly selecting people, and that'll be Natalie and Eileen will be randomly selecting people who comment about the show and what they've learned today. So go ahead, comment, tell us what you liked about the Power BI Community Show, and you could win, or you could be randomly selected. It's not winning. You could be randomly selected to receive one of these books today. And then the other thing is we've got a couple of other housekeeping things. Yeah, Daniel?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to plug the next episode of the community show on the 23rd of May. Stay tuned for that. And, I think I saw some comments on YouTube about how to connect to our Power BI community. So I'll just throw in the link at the bottom there. It's community.powerbi.com. You can register there. Make sure to plug into our user groups, aka.ms/PowerBIUG. And then also you can watch past episodes of our Power BI community show over here, aka.ms/PowerBI show.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and we always tell people, try and register, because you get more of an experience registering. You're able to, vote on things, kudo things. And with the challenges coming up, you'll need to be able to register. You'll need to be registered, I should say, to be able to do a kudo, which is to, it's kind of like a vote on each of the each one of the data stories gallery Charticulator submissions. I'm trying to get the right verbiage there,
right, yeah.
Daniel. So thanks for helping me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah.
But and we've also got Dev Camp coming up on May 26th again with Alex Powers, and of course Ted. Ted's Dev Camp has been hugely successful for really in-depth learning on Power BI. It's just been fantastic. So I think that's about all we have for today. Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
Okay. Any final words, Shabnam?
No, thank you for having me. This was great being here and sharing these tips and tricks with the community. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. And Leila, any other final words you have?
Thanks. It was so great to present, and I'm happy the competition coming up. So I do my best to participate, and also will soon upload the videos to the community.
Fantastic. And remember, everybody, we really love the community. Thank you so much, Leila and Shabnam, for all you do for the community. Love your work, love your sharing and learning. Okay. Now with that, hopefully we'll see you again soon. And with that, I think we've come to the end of the show, haven't we now, Daniel? Yeah?
Yeah, we're all set here. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. And it's really, it's so cool to see everyone chiming in and telling us where they're, dialing in from and watching the show. So keep the comments coming, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. And I always shout out to Daniel because Daniel's a little bit shy, and we want to make sure that everyone knows that Daniel is the producer of this show. He's giving me funny looks on the other monitor, so that's why I'm laughing. Okay, everyone, remember community.powerbi.com. Register, join our Charticulator challenge that we're going to launch next week on May 16, and we'll see you in the community.